And thank you guys for choosing my room. I know there's a lot of hard, tough choices out there, so thank you for being here. Glad you're here. So we're going to talk about becoming the fitness authority for women over 40 in your community. How many of you are a woman over 40? Okay, so we got a good handful of us here, so we can, really get some feedback from all of us as we start to talk about that. I remember turning 40. Anybody else remember turning 40? Yeah? It's already 10 years ago. How did that happen? It's weird getting older. And I think, as a coach, right, as a personal trainer, I started in this field when I was in my 20s and was always coaching the women over 40, right? And they would always look at me like, you just wait till you're in your 40s, right? And you're like, okay, right? And then all of a sudden, here you are, turning 40. And now you're one of these women over 40. And as I was approaching my 40s, I had become more sedentary. I wasn't coaching as much. I was traveling a lot more on the speaking tours. Lifestyle had changed. And I was starting to find myself in some of the same predicaments I had seen our clients going through. And so it was interesting to me, I thought, oh my gosh, as I would go to my annual physical every year and checking in with my doctor, it was like, just a pound heavier, another pound heavier, another pound heavier, right? Like over 10 years, pretty soon, you've gained 10 pounds and it didn't happen, right? Like that, it slowly happens. And that's where a lot of our clients find themselves in that situation when they come into your gym and hire you is, it's not anything that they did different. It's just, things started to change, right? All of our women over 40, everyone with me? And so as I was turning 40, we had a group of clients at the gym that wanted to do an obstacle course race. They wanted to do their first Spartan race. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. Like, I think you have to go get electrocuted and there's a whole mud thing but I don't like my clients to do something I've never done. So I was like, all right. So we had a couple of our coaches who were excited about it. They were going to coach the team. Clients were all revved up, ready to do this. So I'm like, fine, I'll join in. I'll train with you guys. And here I was as I was approaching my 40th birthday, crossing the finish line of my first Spartan race. And as I was crossing this finish line, you can see me over there on the left. I'm not so sure of myself. I am I don't know what I'm doing. During that race, had to get help from our clients. Dave here Dan on the right there helped me over the walls and, really helped me get through that race. And it was fun. I had a blast. I realized, this is actually a lot of fun, especially because it's like a team event. We did all help each other and really had a good time. How many of you guys have ever done a Spartan race? Okay, so quite a few of you guys. So a lot of fun, team environment, right? But something switched in my head and I thought, you know what? I am now 40 and I know I can do more. I know I can be more. I know I can, really push myself to start to get into, get in better shape, realizing that over the last 10 years, I had been on a slippery slope. And so what did I do? I decided to really commit myself. And I decided to sign up for competitive and really push myself as a competitive athlete. And so from 40 to 45, that was the finish line at that race. I saw where I was. I had gained the weight. I was at 29.8% body fat. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I am, a fitness professional, fitness guru in the industry, right? And I am the same as my clients, right? I've done exactly what they did. And so I pushed myself to change my body. And so over a period of time, really started to focus. And from the age of 40 to 45, decided to make that transformation. And how did I do that? I hired a coach. You guys know that that's the secret, right? Hire a coach. And so, I couldn't find the best there was. So I decided to go ahead and, settle for this guy, Alan Cosgrove. He's not in the room, so he didn't get to hear that joke. But so he coached me and we started, really getting programs designed so that I could start to compete and really find my inner athlete again. And so I became a competitive athlete at 43 years old. And this is where, it's like our clients, no matter what age they're at, they can start, right? This can be the day one of their athletic career. And that's really what I decided for myself. And so, over that time, I got more and more into it, 2017, 2018. We actually just sold our house this last week and the real estate agent, I have all these medals medals that are on a wall in my house. And the real estate agent said every time she'd show the house, they would walk in and go, "Oh my gosh, what does he do?" And she goes, it was always so fun to go, "Well, it's not him, it's actually her. You know, she won all those medals." So that was kind of funny, right? Yeah, come on now. Why do you think it's him? So that's the from 40 to 45, right? What's possible? And so I'm only sharing this story because for me, it was really about realizing, okay, it's a decision. It's a decision for all of us, even those of us who know the things. We know what to do. We know what to eat. We know how to train. But gosh, it can be easy to head down that slippery slope as we get older. And so I know you're probably thinking, you know, some of you guys are thinking, well, I'm not a 40-year-old woman. And so how am I going to be the expert, right? Well, this all started when I was in my 20s. I was a 25-year-old trainer. I was 25 when we opened our gym, 23 when I started training clients. My very first client, I was 23 years old. Her name was Mary Sue Price. That's actually not a picture of Mary Sue Price. That's the most early picture I could find. Back then, we didn't take as many pictures as we take now. Mary Sue Price, it was in New York City, and you know, I took her around the circuit of machines, and I told her what number to set the machine on, and I did the best that I knew how at that time to help her to change her life. And she got great results. She got stronger, and she was horseback riding, got back into horseback riding, and did really great. And from that very first client that I worked with, I listened. I listened to everything she said. I listened to how she was feeling. I listened to what was working. And every client since then, from being 23 years old to now 50 years old, I've learned from every client that I've worked with. And as I'm listening and I'm learning from these clients, that's how I've built an expertise, right? That's how I've learned how to become an expert in this field. And so, you know, becoming the fitness authority for women over 40 in your community, it's up to 4 things. So we're going to go over these 4 things. First thing is going to be really understanding your audience. We have to understand who is this audience that we're trying to be an expert for. Who are they? What are they looking for? Where are they at in their life? You know, what do they need from me? Becoming an expert. What does it take to become an expert? And if you want to become an expert at training women over 40, decide that that's what you want to do and really make that your commitment. Really make, as you're at this conference, you know, go to every talk. Even if they are not talks about women over 40, you're going into that talk with that filter of how do I apply this to my clients who are over 40, right? And the women that I'm working with, no matter what the topic is. That's where your filter is, and that's where your brain, you know, ends up thinking, right? How to get really involved in your community and really get known in your community and build client engagement, okay? Giving you guys some ideas to build that client engagement. And then we're gonna talk some marketing, okay? Really, marketing is about, you know, becoming the known expert, right? It's about becoming the person. How do you market yourself? How do you build your brand? And how do you put yourself out there to really get well known in your community? So those are the 4 topics we're going to talk about today. So let's first start understanding who this audience is. Who is she? Who's this woman that we're trying to be the expert for, that we really want to help? Well, if you think about it, she's got, you know, why would we, you know, really target women over 40? She's got a lot going on. You know, this is about the point in her life when things start to change, right? We got menopause, we got perimenopause, we got hormones starting to fluctuate, you know, things that are really feeling out of her control. And a lot of times it can feel frustrating. It can feel like you don't have the control you used to have. The things that used to work don't work anymore. And, you know, things are changing. Joint health, you know, inflammation tends to be increasing, you know, with the hormonal shifts. And so all of a sudden things are hurting that didn't used to hurt before, right? They are, you know, waking up and getting out of bed is, you know, comes with a lot more groans than it used to, right? And then their metabolism is shifting. So as they are, you know, heading into this, you know, 40s, 50s, starting to feel like, you know what, things are not as easy as they used to be. Cool part is there's some opportunities here for all of us as coaches. They want help. And there's some, you know, at this point in their life, they have an increased focus on health. They want to feel good. They want to continue to be able to do the things that they want to be able to do. And so it really is for them. I feel like when you get to your 40s, there's two paths you're going to head on, right? You're either going to head on the slippery slope like I'm talking about, and all of us have friends that are on that slope. I know I do, that I see them, getting like more and more injuries, less and less functional, gaining weight, losing muscle, getting weaker, and heading down that slippery slope. Or they're going to hire you as their coach, and you're going to help to take them down the path of getting stronger, getting more fit, feeling more confident, really feeling like they can do anything they want to do in life, and actually changing the second half of their life and helping them to really get the most out of that second half of their life. So this is an opportunity. They have more financial independence, and they're also seeking connection and community. And we're going to talk about that today, because I feel like to be the expert to this audience, you have to incorporate in that community and that support, because they need that and they want that, and they're going to seek that out. And if you don't provide that, you're not going to be the resource for them. So it's not just about giving them the right exercises or, programming for them the right way. It's also about creating a space where they feel comfortable, they feel supported, and they feel like they're part of a community. And I think that is one of the magic that will really make everything else work. So we'll talk more about how to do that as well. And this demographic trusts specialized experts. They aren't afraid to hire the experts. They aren't afraid to seek out the people who know what they're doing and really, work with people who they know they can trust and they can follow the path. And so when you create that, where you become known as the expert, you're not going to ever be short of clients, because they're going to want to work with you. So this was when we opened Results Fitness. We had 8 clients. It was the year 2000. And yes, we had nice blue carpeting. We had brown paneling walls. It was beautiful. We really wanted to start we wanted to start changing the way fitness is done. And that's our mission, is to change the way fitness is done. And so from those humble beginnings where Alan and myself first started our gym, holding on to each other for dear life, because we didn't quite know what we were getting into. We knew nothing about running a business. We knew a lot about training. We knew a lot about helping people, and we really, wanted to create something different. And so at this point, 25 years later, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary. So we've been in business 25 years, and we have over 200 clients. There's been some bumps in the road, some ups and downs. Of course, pandemic being closed down for a year, we did, drop down to about 130 clients. We've been rebuilding back up. And over that time, we've worked with hundreds of women over 40. We've worked with a number of women, and we've had a number of women who joined in their 40s. If you guys were at my hands-on today, you heard me tell Lori's story, who joined in her 40s and are now still with us in their 60s. And so we've been able to work with these women as they're in their 40s, helping them to get on the path to get fitter, stronger, healthier, build more confidence and more independence, and see what that looks like 25 years later, which is the coolest part, is having clients that have been with us for that long. And we have quite a few that have been with us for that long. So as I'm teaching this, part of this is coming from that place. And as I talked about listening to my clients, one of my biggest ideas came from talking to a mother and a daughter. And they were both trying to lose weight, and the daughter was losing weight, the mother wasn't. And so we're talking and kind of brainstorming, why is this working? Why is this not working? And I said to the mother, well, how many low calorie diets have you been on in your lifetime? And she was like, oh, I don't even know. I couldn't even count. No, which is very common for women in that age group. They have tried a lot of different low-calorie diets. Of course, now we have all kinds of things we're up against when it comes with, Ozempic, right? Things where they're really starting to restrict their eating. And so by the time that they now, right, have lost weight, gained the weight back, lost weight, gained the weight back, and a lot of times lost a lot of muscle, right? Now they come in to hire you, their metabolism's a lot lower. So when they start to strength train and they start to change their body, muscle builds, fat drops, weight doesn't change, right? So I was finding this with a lot of our clients, and this was really about me talking to our clients, listening to our clients, going, that's interesting. You're right, because her daughter had never been on any kind of this is the first time she's ever started exercising, right? Building muscle, changing her body. So she was really responding differently than the 40-year-old is going to respond differently than a 20-year-old, right? So starting to put 2 and 2 together and realize Well, as we all know, the scale does not tell the whole story, right? So weight is not going to be the answer to your progress. We're not going to look at the scale to see how you're progressing, because we have to build the muscle back in order for you to build your metabolism and get your body back to where it's going to start changing. So by listening to my clients, I created my first book, The Female Body Breakthrough. When we talk about becoming an expert, listen to your clients. They're giving you all of the answers. And all of you have a book in you. All of you have, the knowledge in you. So as you start to listen to your clients, as you start to learn from your clients, write down notes, write down what you're hearing, write down what you're learning. That's where that book came from. That was my first book. That was all from my experience and my experience with my clients and what they were telling me, what I was hearing, what was working, what wasn't working, what cues I would say, what words I would use, right? Everything I would use to help our clients to get results turned into my first book, okay? So any one of you in this room can do that, okay? Any one of you. And you're on that path to do that. Now that book was also out of what I called my jeans challenge. And so that one conversation that I had with that client sparked the idea of, guess what? Just bring your jeans in. We're not gonna look at a scale anymore. I want you to bring your jeans in. That's what we're gonna look at. We're just gonna look at, do you fit, like, are we changing, right? Are your clothes fitting you better? And that's literally where the Drop 2 Sizes challenge came from, was from one conversation with one client, listening and hearing what we needed to do to help to change her mindset, to start to build muscle, lose fat, change the way she felt, and help her to get results. And so because of that conversation, I started the Jeans Challenge. I talk about the Jeans Challenge in my first book, okay? And then we successfully ran one of those challenges every year. Now, every time I run one of these challenges, I get to spend time with our clients. I get to talk to them. I get to sit down at a table and really listen and hear where they're at. Where do they want to go? What's working? What's not working? And guess what? We get to build community, right? They get to know each other. They get to really support each other and share with each other. And of course, this turned into my second book, Drop 2 Sizes. So you guys see, if you aren't listening, so some of you are having these conversations and you're not thinking that this conversation is actually the idea that could become the next big challenge. This could become my next article. This could become my next book. This could become the topic I'm speaking on at Perform Better, right? Like, you realize that is how I got here, was from a conversation with a client. Kind of crazy, right? When you think about it. Okay, so I want you guys to start to think like that when you go back on Monday and you're talking to your clients. Start to listen for those ideas, start to listen for those sparks, because that's where you're going to be able to not only help that client that's standing in front of you, but be able to help a million more people, right? I mean, with that idea, I've written 2 books. I've helped a number of, not only the groups at our gym, and the pictures go on and on, of these women that have had their lives changed from this challenge, from this one conversation, right? But I've helped hundreds of gyms around the world to run the same type of challenge and help women to shift their mindset from looking at a scale to start to look at building muscle, losing fat, and changing their body for the long term, right? Changing the way they feel for the long term. So that was from one conversation, okay? So speaking of conversations, this is one of our longtime clients, Jan. From one of
Cosgrove, and I'm here live at Results Fitness at the Jeans Challenge finale. And I'm here with Jan Bernier, and she is one of our superstars in the Rocker Jeans Challenge. Let's start with where you started at Results Fitness when you joined here.
Well, I started, it's been over 4 years ago. I really wasn't as committed as I think I should have been at the time. But lo and behold, at the beginning of this year, the New Year, New You contest, I got recruited by Sue, my buddy Sue, and we joined, and I was a size 14 jeans at that time in February, and here I am in a size 6. So I have done multiple challenges. I've just one thing blended into the next with the New Year, New You. Then I trained for the mud run, which was a new experience. And then it went to the Muffin Top Meltdown, and I kept going with the triathlons. I did 2 of those over the summer and won my age group, and 100 workout challenge, which I completed.
So her momentum, as you can tell, is just going. So that's awesome. So tell me, this last 8 weeks, what's something you learned about, that really has worked for you or really clicked?
if I have a goal and I stick to it, I can do whatever it is I want to do, and it's an exhilarating feeling.
Tell me, how do you feel?
I feel amazing, and the best part of it is I have 7 grandchildren, and I've inspired all my family members to get busy and get out there and work, and so that makes me feel good.
Well, you are such an inspiration. So, and everybody, Jan, she is rocking her jeans here tonight.
So something I've found is giving our clients a goal, giving them something to work toward has really been powerful. And as they start to realize they can accomplish something, then they want more, like Jan. And more and more. And as you guys can see in the video, both Jan and myself, we're a little younger in that video. That video was probably, gosh, almost 8 to 10 years ago, and she's still a member at the gym, still conquering goals, still going after things. So that's what we got to start thinking about with our women over 40, right? They want to be pushed. They want to have goals. This is a group of women called the GGs at Results Fitness. A lot of these women were, so GGs are I think it's Glamorous Grannies it stands for, but they formed this group by themselves. So when we talk about community, we talk about support. Like when you start to have this happening within your gym where people are creating their own groups, right? Where they're like, all right, so Sue, I think she's the head of the GGs. She's like, you have to be over 60 because if you're now this is what I get from our clients. I get, wait till you're over 60 because then you'll understand. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. So that's going to be the next hurdle I got to overcome is, the over 60 hurdle because they all support each other. They get together every month. They talk about, what it's like to be over 60, what's hard, what's not hard. And they all see each other in the gym and really, keep each other going. And so that support is, part of what the power is. So this was my most recent book, Age Strong. And with this book, I did sit down and talk to all of our clients who had been with us from in their 40s to in their 60s. And so people like Lori, who some of you guys met earlier today, who she's in the book. I talk about her story. So what's it been like following our program since you were in your 40s to now being in your 60s? How do you feel? Where are you at? What's worked? What hasn't? What was menopause like? What were the hormonal fluctuations like? And really, talking to them about navigating that journey. And so in this book, I tell all those stories and I talk about what's worked for them. And what I've found, talking to them was the ones who do, who are strength training, who are building muscle, who are really changing their lifestyle, end up navigating that so much easier than those who are not, right? As we all know, but, and everybody's different. Every single person I talked to had a different experience. So I'm not saying across the board, some needed hormone replacement therapy, others didn't, right? Like it just was a real fluctuation of everybody figuring out for themselves what worked and what didn't. So as we mentioned, Results Fitness is our gym. We're about an hour and a half north of here. We have actually some of our team members here. So team members, raise your hands. So some of our coaches are all here learning and getting better, which we, at Results Fitness, one of our core values is constantly learn and improve. And so it's always fun to have them here at Perform Better because of what we've done at Results Fitness. So wherever you're at in your career, in your journey, start to think about some of the opportunities that could come up, right? As we've been working with people, as we've been giving our best to helping women over 40, we've ended up with opportunities with Nike. We've ended up getting named IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year with IDEA, working with a number of different magazines, becoming the expert, right, at helping to program and coach people. Perform Better, obviously we've been a part of Perform Better for many years and we love being a part of this tour. And then Results University, which Chris mentioned. So Results University is our second company where we help other gym owners, other fitness professionals to start their career, build their career, open their gyms, and really set up their business to be able to support their life. And so that's our other company that we work to really help change the way fitness is done. And that's where we can help on an even larger scale. So I want to first say some thank yous before I get too far into my presentation. These are our list of core values here. And you guys see number 6 is be we, not me. I would not be up here if it weren't for the people in my life. So I do want to say a quick thank you to our team. I know we have some of them in the audience. We also have some of them back at the gym who are keeping the gym open so our clients can come in and train. So, a lot of what we do and who we are, we depend on our team. We all work together as a team to change as many lives as we can. So I appreciate every single one of them and who they are and what they do. I also appreciate our extended team, which is our Results Fitness University gym owners. We actually have some of them here at Perform Better this week. And these are, the gym owners that have also, and I'm going to share some of their stories, have, really followed some of the things that we teach, that we've done at Results Fitness, and been able to, oh, we actually have Gail and Chip right here. I was like, wait, we do have some in the audience, as representatives. So our extended team, they're also, what I'm teaching you is not just at Results Fitness, okay? It's also, at these other gyms that we get to work with and we have the honor of working closely with. And of course, all of you, thank you for choosing my room. I know there's a lot going on, a lot of choices, so I appreciate you guys coming in to hang out with me for this hour and coming to perform better. I know it can be hard. I know life is busy, right? It's always like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have time for this. I have a lot going on. And so being able to set aside the time to come here to better yourselves, better our industry, and really become the best. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, because that's what our mission is to change the way fitness is done. So we appreciate you guys being here, because we love seeing our industry continue to elevate and get better and better. And of course, Perform Better. Perform Better, it is like another team for us. That is our team when we're on the road. We're a part of the Perform Better team. And so we get to, really be a part of the team. And, all of the different speakers, everybody here is fantastic. And we all learn from each other. And so it's always an honor to be asked to come back and speak again. So I'm always honored to be here. Okay, so let's talk about understanding your audience and get a little deeper into this. We're going to talk about physical needs, emotional needs, and common barriers you guys might come across, okay? So let's talk about those physical needs. So we've already talked a little bit about this, but this group is, when I talked about that they may have been on a number of low-calorie diets. That's a good question to ask. How many low-calorie diets have you been on in your lifetime? Might give you an idea of where their metabolism is at, right? But a lot of times when they do come in to hire you, they are under-muscled, right? Their muscle they've ended up doing these low-calorie diets, they've lost muscle, and now they come in and their metabolism's lower, and so we have to build their muscle. I truly believe strength training is the cornerstone for this group of women, that as we're entering into our 40s, it becomes crucial for us to be able to keep our metabolism up, be able to keep feeling good, and be able to do the things we want to be able to do. I think we've, for far too long been too focused on cardio and running and, walking, which is all great and fine. But really, if you don't start to shift as you enter into your 40s to focus on strength training and actually learn how to strength train properly, I think a lot of women in their 40s, as they enter into their 40s, they think they know how to strength train, but they actually have never been taught how to progressively overload and how to move properly, right? And so some of the things that you guys are here to teach them, and if we can let them know that you're the expert, then we can help them to really learn how to strength train properly. And that can set them up for the next 40 years of their life, 50 years of their life, 60 years of their life, to get stronger and stronger, right? Which is so powerful. Mobility, right? We talked a little bit about that at the hands-on this morning. So a lot of times we're losing mobility as we get older. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it. So making sure we include. So these are things we want to make sure we include in our programming. Obviously, strength training, improving mobility and flexibility, a decline in cardio fitness. So we do want to improve aerobic capacity. Balance training, okay? Balance is one of the things that we will lose as we age, and so important. Falls are the number one reason people end up in the hospital. So making sure we are including balance training. Power production, we talked about that at the hands-on today as well. And bone density, so weight-bearing exercises, making sure we're doing things that are going to help to build bone density. And of course, body composition, increasing muscle, decreasing fat, and really making sure we're optimizing our body composition. Because like I talked about, it is a slippery slope, right? Over time, fatter, slower, weaker, and in more pain. And it's so easy to give up, okay? It's so easy at this point to just say, I'm over the hill, I'm past my prime, I'm never, it's too late, right? It's not too late, okay? It's not too late, and this population can accomplish way more than they even think they ever could, and it's up to you guys. Now, if you guys have seen this book, Younger Next Year, he talks about how this is how most people age. So you guys see that graph where aging is basically a slow curve, right? Where you just get like weaker and less independent, and you kind of slowly die, right? Like get able to do less and less, and then over time. Well, he talks about how it actually should be more like this, where quality of life stays higher for longer, and then we die, right? So like we all want, right? We all just want to fall asleep one day and like, that's it, right? Over. But what I believe that we as, a profession can do, what we can help people do is we actually do this, right? I believe I've seen our clients improve their quality of life. So not only are we going to help them to maintain and not drop off, but we can actually help them to get more out of life. Does that make sense? So it's pretty cool, right? A pretty neat thing that we are able to do is to help people to get more out of that second half of their life. And it's going to be with these things that we talked about, mobility. We actually were doing that exercise earlier today in the hands-on. As the body ages, people can no longer perform the simple movement patterns they were able to perform as children. For example, a deep squat, right? So making sure, I know Gray Cook and Lee Burton have been talking quite a bit about that this morning. So definitely go see one of their hands-ons if you want to learn how to teach people how to squat, because it's important and it's something that we should be able to do right into our 80s and 90s, right? We should be able to continue being able to do these movements. So making that a part of the programming. Now today's talk is not on programming and coaching. I talked a little more deeper into that last year. So we're really gonna I'm gonna go through real quick what you guys need to include in your programming. Tomorrow, Alan is talking on programming and coaching, so check out his talk tomorrow if you want some programming and coaching ideas. But today we're gonna dive a little quicker into really building yourself up as experts, talking about some of the marketing, talking about some of the things that are going to help build your expertise and credibility. But real quick, I'm going to run through what we need to include in our programming. Injuries, okay? Too tight, too weak. That's one of the main reasons. So usually any injury, so this crowd is coming into you guys, this hurts, that hurts. Most likely, a lot of times, those things that are bothering them can be because a muscle's too tight or a muscle's too weak. Now, we are not doctors, we are not physical therapists, so you do have to draw that line at some point and make sure that you do refer out, okay? But a lot of times with some increased mobility, we can see them improve. For instance, 80% of adults experience low back pain at some point in their life. And that can be from a lack of hip mobility, right? So if they don't have hip mobility, now their back is taking the compensation and pretty soon they end up with back pain, right? Because they're lacking hip mobility. So easily if we just get some more hip mobility, their back pain is gonna feel better, okay? So there's things that we can do in our programming to help with that, including muscular strength and balance. Studies have shown a person loses 50% of lean mass from the age of 20 to 90, okay? That's a lot, 50%. So if that's the slope, right? That's where we start to lose that muscle as we age, and pretty soon we find out we can't stand up out of the chair, or we can't, do the things that we wanted to do. We can't pick up our grandkids. We can't, really be able to function. And so our job is to make sure that doesn't happen. I love these graphs. I don't know if you guys, I remember these back from college. So use it or lose it, right? So this is the 40-year-old triathlete. That's a cross section of the thighs. And so seeing what the muscle looks like of a 40-year-old triathlete, right? And then this is a 74-year-old sedentary man. So that's exactly talking about that, losing 50% of the muscle, right? From 40 years old to 74 years old. That's what typically tends to happen, is our body tends to drop muscle, increase fat, we have less strength and less ability to do things. But if we are active and we do the things to build the muscle, that is the legs of a 70-year-old triathlete. So guess what? They look just like the 40-year-old triathlete, right? So we can reverse the aging process, right? We can continue to build muscle and keep muscle as we age. And so that's what we want to be able to do. Bone density is a real thing, especially for this population, really making sure that they are building bone. Strength training increases bone mass, reducing your risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia. My favorite example of this was a client of ours who came in with her bone scan. She was like, hey, my doctor said I need to start lifting weights. Here's my bone scan. So you guys see her weight, 110. 28% body fat, 77 pounds of muscle, 41 years old. And she was at medium risk for bone loss, okay? And she was, had genetic factors as well, so she was worried about it. Came in, started lifting weights. Exactly 1 year later, went back and got her scans redone. And look at the weight, first of all, okay? You guys, did you see that? 110, right? Now she's 121 pounds. Again, scale doesn't tell the whole story. She went from 28% body fat to 18% body fat, okay? So who would you rather be, right? Do you want to be the 110 10 pound, 28% body fat, or do you want to be at 121 at 18% body fat, right? So this population gets so focused on that scale. That's one of our number one jobs, is to help them to understand that the body is so much more than the weight on the scale. She's now 99 pounds of lean muscle, okay? Up from 77 pounds of lean muscle, okay? And of course, 1 year older, but now she's at low risk for bone loss, okay? So her scores have completely changed. They 13% improvement, right? And then we have over here on the hips, we have an 11.5% improvement, and now she's low risk, okay? It's one of my favorite examples, just because it was, we kind of like to think of Results Fitness as our research and development. And so when you actually get to have medical, records come in and you're like, oh, this is cool stuff, to actually see the results of what we're doing and see that we are making a difference. So you are making a difference. You are helping them to build bone. They are getting younger, right, as they're strength training and building that bone back. Power development, something else we have to include. We talked about that in the hands-on today. So you guys got some examples of that. Studies show that one of the first things we lose as we age is power. And then aerobic capacity, it declines as we age. The Baltimore Longitudinal Study on Aging talks about that, and that it's proven that absolutely, if we don't train it, we are going to lose our aerobic capacity. Without exercise, aerobic capacity decline is accelerated, okay? And of course, body composition, okay? Like I've talked about the vicious cycle. I've only gained 5 pounds in 10 years. People lose about half a pound of muscle while gaining 1 pound of fat on average per year, okay? From age 40 and on, people lose muscle and gain fat at an even faster pace without exercise. So that's where we come in to help them to reverse that. So those are some of the things I want you guys to think about including in your programming. Again, to get more specific, make sure you go see Alan's talk tomorrow, or if you can grab a recording of my talk last year. But let's dive more into who this target market is and get to know a little bit more about what they're looking for. So some of the things that I think we don't think about is confidence. That's like one of the number one jobs we have, is giving them confidence. When I see one of the women in our gym who comes in, baggy clothes, hiding in the corner, doesn't want attention drawn to them, right? Over time, start to gain confidence, start to lift weights, start to get stronger, start to feel better about themselves. Then all of a sudden they're deadlifting a bunch of weight and they're over there ringing our PR bell like, yeah! Like that's the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, who is this woman, right? Like we've actually transformed their identity, and I've seen it with my own eyes, them go from having very low confidence, not sure about being in the gym, to all of a sudden they're a gym rat who's, ringing the PR bell, feeling amazing, right? And our coaches do a great job of helping guide them on that path to hit that PR bell every day. Our PR bell is going all day long. So if you don't have a PR bell, get a PR bell, because it's a lot of fun. Stress relief, right? They come in for stress relief. We are the place where people if life outside of the gym is crazy, they come in to get their workout done, and that resets them. Our gym is their place that they reset. And so thinking about that and thinking about becoming that for your clients, like how can I really create that for my clients as they come in, so that when they come in, we have very strict rules about what gets talked about, what doesn't get talked about at the gym, because we want to create an atmosphere that everyone feels like, okay, this is my place to reset. This is not where I'm going to come in and get more stressed out, right? This is not where I'm going to come in and have things come up that are going to, really make me crazy. So really think about the conversations that get had. Think about how the environment is at the place you train at, and are you creating a place where people can come in, get their workout done, focus on themselves, have that moment, that hour where it's just about them, so that they can go back out and deal with whatever else is going on in the world, okay? Social connection. Like these are the powerful things that we are creating and giving to our clients. So as much as the programming is important and we need to think about the strength training and the exercises and all the things we do, I want you guys to really think about these 3 things. How are we building confidence? How are we helping our clients to de-stress? And how are we building that social connection? Because those are the things that are going to really set you up as the expert when you understand this audience, okay? Several research studies have shown a very strong positive correlation between social interaction and health and well-being among older adults. From the National Institute on Aging, social relationships are consistently associated with biomarkers of health and aging, okay? Positive indicators of social well-being may be associated with lower levels of interleukin-6 in otherwise healthy people. So that's an inflammatory factor implicated in age-related disorders such as Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, rheumatoid, cardiovascular disease, and some forms of cancer. Fun group picture there. We actually have Courtney over there in the back, who's one of our clients and now one of our team members. So, every time that they come in and you have that group of friends that are supporting each other, you're not only like, yes, they've made friendships and we've had lifelong friendships at our gym that are built, but you're actually helping them to have less likelihood of disease, right? So as they're getting older. So how can we cultivate that? How can we create that in your gym? We are not the kind of gym that you come in and you put your headphones in and you ignore everybody. It's just not who we are. We're going to talk to you. Someone's going to try to be your friend. We're going to support you. We're going to cheer you on. And if you don't like it, this probably isn't your gym, because I feel like that is one of the crucial pieces to your long-term, right? Being committed to your goals and continuing to do the exercise. But two, really you making those lifelong friendships is what's going to help you to stay healthy and stay young. Okay. So I feel like that's a crucial piece of what we do at Results Fitness. So part of these drop 2 sizes challenges is that community. A lot of times these groups that we form get to know each other, and that's where a lot of these friendships start to form. So it's not just about, yes, I know drop 2 sizes and do we want to help people drop 2 sizes? I'll tell you guys, a lot of them are going out and getting Ozempic. They're getting, they're doing all the things to lose weight. So start speaking their language. When we say drop 2 sizes, and I kind of steered away from using that language for a while because I was like, it's not about dropping 2 sizes. It's about building muscle, losing fat, having a positive body image. And then I realized they only listen if I say drop 2 sizes. And then they all show up, right? And then I'm like, okay, now we can have a conversation. Thank you very much, right? So don't be afraid to use their language. So if some of you are in the audience going, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's talking about dropping 2 sizes. Guess what? If that's what your clients are talking about, then that's what you need to talk about. Use their language, because that's the only way they're going to listen to you. Start building trust with you so that you can help them on the road to do the right thing, right? To change their body. And that's what these groups are about us having those conversations that are building community, okay? That's the power of it. All right, let's dive into some common barriers. So what are some of the reasons why this audience is not going to be able to follow through? They're not going to be able to follow your advice. These are some of the reasons, okay? We got time constraints, right? Busy. They got a lot of people they're taking care of. A lot of times at this point in life, start to have elderly parents, still have kids that are dependent on you, right? And it's a lot, right? There's a lot of people, and a lot of times they're they're still career women. They're not retired yet. So they're still working. They got people depending on them at work. They got people depending on them at home. And then they probably have, parents that are starting to need them as well. A lack of knowledge. So sometimes it is, I still every once in a while hear, I don't want to strength train. I don't want to get big and bulky. I don't hear it as often, but I feel like it does still creep up every once in a while, right? Where they just don't understand, right, how strength training fits into their long-term health. And then fear of injury. They don't want to get hurt, right? So, and that's one of our number one jobs, is to make sure that, they are safe and they are going to get long-term results. So how do we overcome this? One, address the skepticism about strength training. With this, when I say listen, this is where we have to listen. If they say, I don't want to get big and bulky, I don't want to lift a lot of weight, instead of saying, oh, you won't get big and bulky, don't worry about it, now you've just discounted what their concern is. Instead, meet them where they're at and say, oh, I totally hear you. I know what you mean. I get it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk more about that and talk about, why you feel like that. Well, I just feel like when I lift heavy weights, I'm going to be, okay, well then how about can we talk about maybe using a sandbag or using something different? Maybe in their head, using the barbell. And then as we start to slowly over time, right, they start to see their body changing, and we start to progress the weights and start to build that trust. A lot of times it is just about them trusting you. And if you don't listen and give them that second to share where they're at and what their concerns are, then they're never going to trust you and you're never going to be able to help them. So just be careful getting into a me against you conversation, right? Because if you get into a me against you conversation, you're going to lose them and you're not going to be able to help them. Does that make sense? So instead, hear them, listen to them, meet them where they're at, and then we can pull them along on the journey. Manage time constraints. So do think about, the flexibility of your schedules. We actually love we do semi-private coaching at Results Fitness. So that does give us a lot more flexibility with our appointment schedules. So we can, it opens up a lot more appointments. So being able to schedule at different times, giving them that flexibility, giving them the ability to schedule on their own, having an app that they can go on and they can schedule their own appointments, right? So they are, again, working around a lot of different people's schedules, making sure you make it easy for them to schedule. And then handling competition by emphasizing your unique expertise. So we're going to talk about really niching and really finding your niche and how you can set yourself apart as an expert to this audience. So become the space where your clients have social connection, de-stress, and build their confidence. It's about so much more than a gym. And if there's one thing you take away from this, it's to go back and start to think about, how do I create a space that's so much more than just a room full of equipment for people to come and, sit on the equipment with their headphones on. That's not who we are and that's not what we do, okay? So how can we create a different kind of a space where they can build that confidence and de-stress? Okay, so hopefully we've started to understand who this audience is. Okay, let's dive into becoming an expert for them. How do we do that? Now that we know who they are, how do we become an expert? Number one, constantly learn and improve. I mentioned that's one of our core values. So I'm speaking to the choir because you guys are here at Perform Better, and by taking the time to be here, investing in yourselves, you guys already showed me that you are already constantly learning and improving. And I think that alone says a lot, right? In addition, you guys might want to check out my book, Age Strong. So that does have a lot of good information in it. They do have them up at the booth over there. So grab a copy of the book. And then start to look up other books, other resources. If this is really the niche you want to get into, start to really dive in and learn everything. And like I mentioned, every talk you go to here, go into it with that filter of, I want to be an expert at training women, and what am I going to get out of this talk to help the women that I'm working for? That's when I decided I wanted to be an expert at training women. That's how I started to go. I was like, every woman I could talk to, every book I could read, every conference I could go to, all I thought about was, how is this going to apply to the women that I'm working with? And that's what really helped me to hone in on getting those ideas to make myself a better coach, okay? Stay up to date on research about aging, menopause, and fitness. Here's some resources for you. If you guys aren't currently, looking up some of the research, it is something that you don't want to wait until it's in the magazines, right? Like, you don't want to be the one that your client comes to you and goes, hey, I heard about this research study. Like, okay, I actually saw that on PubMed, or I actually, so jump on, get into the, notifications, start to, keep yourself up to date so that you're not doing this, like trying to keep up with whatever your client's reading in the news lines, because that's how they end up coming out. They come out in the news lines, and then you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, they have some crazy thing that they've just come up with. So get the real science, get the real research, and start to keep up with it. Okay, that's where you're going to be one step ahead. And then develop a niche. So all three of my books are based on strength training. Strength training to me has always been, from the beginning, my very first book, when I first started in this industry and started putting content out and started writing, it's always been about helping women to understand strength training and the power of strength training to help them to feel better, look better, and to really change their body and their life long term. And so that's been my niche, strength training. So what is your niche? What is the thing that you're going to be known for? And you're welcome to also, jump on strength training, because gosh, it's, we need more people out there that are preaching about strength training and helping more women to strength train. But maybe you love yoga, maybe you love bone health, maybe you love, Pilates, maybe, what is your thing that you feel like you are absolutely passionate about, and you want to shout from the rooftops and get, you want to write about it, right? You want to share about it. You want to learn more about it. Because if you get more niched and you really become the expert at one thing, that's where you're going to really people are going to seek you out to learn more from you. Does that make sense? So try to, really hone that niche in to figure out, what is it that I want to be the best at? And that's where you're going to get more opportunities. And then I think I've said this numerous times, but I'm going to say it one more time. Learn from your clients. As much as you're reading the research, when you have a client right in front of you, that's so much more powerful. Like, they're telling you how they feel. They're telling you what's working. You get to see the results. You get to see the bone scans. Like, this is actually real life right in front of you, right? This isn't in a lab. So if you're not tracking your workouts, if you're not, making sure that your clients are progressing and you're keeping track of how much weight they're lifting, if you're not tracking the data, tracking the results you're getting, that's where you're going to really be able to, that's the real science, right? That's the research and development that you can land on your philosophies that now you're going to be able to share and become the expert, okay? So a lot of you guys are already experts. You just haven't realized it. And hopefully with me saying this, you're going, oh my gosh, I have like 20 conversations a day, and I have more conversations a day than most people. Like, I know women over 40 way more than most people out there, right? Like, because every conversation you have with a woman over 40, you just learn something, and now you've become an expert at that, right? So now it's starting to put those thoughts down on paper and start to write what you've learned so that you can really start to become the expert that you are. So just a quick recap: educate, okay? Constantly learn and improve, stay up to date on the research, develop a niche, and then learn from your clients, okay? Those are the things to become the expert. And once you've done that, you think, okay, I've spent enough time, I know my stuff, I'm feeling pretty good about this, I'm an expert. Then we have to establish credibility. How do we do that? We start to share those success stories, okay? We start to publish articles, okay? We start to put content out. I know it's scary, but guess what? You guys know your stuff. And I bet every one of you in this audience knows your stuff. You know enough that if you start to write and you start to put content out, you're going to inspire somebody. And all you got to know is you got to know more than the person reading, right? So publishing articles. And by the way, don't write articles with your peers in mind, okay? Because that's what we do. We write articles thinking, oh my God, what if Rachel Cosgrove sees this, right? Like, don't worry about me. Like, write it so that you can help the woman that needs your help, right? Think about the woman who is not coming into the gym, who is frustrated, who is intimidated, who wants to feel confident. That's who you're writing to, okay? Don't worry about what I think. It's not about what I think, because I'm not who you're writing for. Write for the person that you're trying to help, okay? Or whoever, right? I know a lot of us, we get like, imposter syndrome of like, oh gosh, if I put something out, what's everybody gonna think, right? Well, no, you're writing it for the person who needs it. You're writing it for the person that you want to inspire. So just keep that in mind. And then speak at local events or host workshops, okay? So this is our kickoff for our Drop 2 Sizes Challenge, where I'm sharing about the philosophies of what we're gonna do over the next 8 weeks. Why not? Why not have your first workshop? Why not, host your first seminar and invite people from your community to come and learn from you? That's how you're going to be set up as the expert. So, and then when we talk about sharing client stories, right? Like, as we start to interview our client.
The program totally works. You just have to really follow the basics. Get your steps in, do your strength training, drink your water, and prioritize your protein intake, and you will lose weight. Just do it.
It's not about the weight, though.
Well, you'll feel better, but it is sometimes.
Thank you, Anna.
Turn the camera on, you guys. Like, sometimes just turn the camera on. And that's what I do at the end of our Drop 2 Sizes Challenge. I'm just like, I didn't even have a microphone on. I was just like, turn the camera on. We're going to talk. Like, let's hear from our clients, right? Like, that's how you start to get those stories out of our clients and hear, like, and then, someone's going to watch that and be like, oh my gosh, like, they seem like so much fun. So just start turning the camera on and start to share those stories of your clients. Okay, so let's talk about social media. So you guys could see that was posted on Instagram, right? So with this stuff, as you start to write, as you start to get content, we have to start putting it on platforms. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, share your tips, okay? Start getting the stuff out there. That's how, now you're an expert. How do we build credibility? We gotta tell people that we're the expert. We gotta share what we know with other people. Post relatable content, quick workouts, myth busting, or client stories. Engage with followers through live Q&A and or challenges, okay? So really starting to think about how can we get these people engaged. So I like to do, think of 4 to 6 pillars. So if you guys are trying to figure out, what do I post? Just write down, give yourself 4 to 6 pillars. If you want to copy these, you can screenshot this, whatever you want to do, but come up with like 4 to 6 that every day you go and commit to yourself. Every day I'm going to put a post up. Today I'm gonna put a post of me working out. Tomorrow I'm gonna put a post up of my dog Atlas. The next day I'm gonna put a post up of one of our clients and how awesome they are, right? The next day I'm gonna put a post up about a quote. Like, this is it. Like, it's not that hard, right? It's just a matter of doing it, okay? And so each time you do this, having in mind the person you're writing it for, so that they will start to follow you. They'll start to see you. They start to go, oh my gosh, I've been watching all of the stuff you're doing. And then you start to become their resource. And that's how you become the expert. You become the resource that they see frequently, but consistency is everything. Like, we got to be consistent. You can't just put up a really great post once a month and expect to be known as the expert in your community, right? Like, we have to start to commit to that consistency day after day. So not only coming up with those 4 to 6 pillars, but also brainstorm some captions. So brainstorm 9 to 12 captions, right? That you can come up with to really, start to rotate through, okay? So that you are posting consistently and really letting people know who you are and why you're the expert. Okay, things like overcoming objections, those are big. So thinking about this audience and I just gave you their objections. We got time constraints, right? We got knowledge, so we can teach them more about strength training and why strength training is important. So these are things that if they read your content, they're gonna go, oh, I didn't realize that, right? That's okay. I wanna listen to more of what this person has to say, okay? Content ideas. This is an easy way to get content. What questions should your target market be asking you? Okay, so brainstorm. What questions should they be asking you? Brainstorm 8 questions, topics to cover, and divvy them up to be email content or live content. So you're the expert, okay? What should people be asking you? Write those down. Write those down. I want you guys, this is your homework, okay? So make sure you guys do this. Go home and do this. And then get that social proof, right? Videos gather once a month. It's easy sometimes to just get a bunch of clients at once and go, okay, hey, we're doing interviews real quick. And then that way they can support each other and be like, no, if you're doing it, I'm doing it, right? And then all of a sudden you got like 4 or 5 clients that are lined up to give you a quick testimonial video. And by the way, we don't want a testimonial. The problem with asking for a testimonial is they'll go, oh, Rachel Cosgrove's such a great coach. She's so amazing. And that doesn't help anything. That's not speaking to the person that we need to help. Instead, I want to hear their story. So I like to prompt them. We think of it as mess to success. So tell me about your mess. So where were you before you came into Results Fitness? So that gives us the mess, right? Like, oh, I was frustrated. I didn't feel good. I was tired all the time. And so that's the mess, okay? Then the 2 is, oh, tell me about what it's been like here at Results Fitness. What do you love about it? Oh, I love the workouts. I love feeling strong. I love, throwing the medicine ball against the wall. And then where are you now? I can't believe what I can do. I can't believe the things I've accomplished. I feel so great. So that's the story. Does that make sense? So as you guys are collecting these stories, just be careful you don't, it's always nice for our ego to hear you're such a great coach, but it actually doesn't help much to inspire other people and to tell other people that you're going to be that resource for them, okay? So that's some of the questions there. What was life like before? Where are you now? What do you like? And that will just give you a more complete story that can help you to, really build yourself up as the expert. Don't discount microphones and lights, okay? Like, even though on that video I didn't use a microphone, you should use a microphone. It does help a lot to get good sound and good light, okay? And it will make your clients feel better too if they have good light. And if you can hear them, obviously, and you can use something like CapCut to, edit it so you can have captions on it. But it's not that hard, okay? So as you start to get your content going, it does, become easier. So that's how we're gonna set ourselves up as the expert, okay? You guys got that? After we become the expert, then we are gonna put that content out there to really tell people we are the expert. All right, let's dive into community and engagement. Building a community presence. Building a network encourages engagement for women over 40. Women over 40, we like to hang out with our friends. We like to, drink wine. We like to, have that social time. So find other businesses that have the same market as you, okay? Like for us across the street, there's a hair salon. That's an easy one, right? Like I know, he's got all kinds of different beauty parties that he puts on, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come over and hang out. Like I'm gonna be there, and we're gonna help co-promote each other. And so we do, and he's also a member of the gym. So partnering with local businesses can can really be huge to help set you up as the expert. Because now I got the owner of the beauty salon across the street telling all of his people in his salon, oh yeah, they're the people to go to. They're the experts, right? So now you have that happening right there in your town. Collaborating with healthcare professionals, network with doctors, physical therapists, dietitians, offer referral programs for clients with medical needs, okay? So really helping to get the referral. So if you do have a physical therapist or a chiropractor or somebody, give them some referral incentives. Like, hey, send over some people, and then send thank you cards. You always say thank you. Always, let them know you appreciate the referral. Position yourself as a trusted resource for holistic health. So start to seek out those experts in your area that are doctors. This is a case study of one of our gym owners. So this is John Aglusi, owner of Get Cut Fitness. He's actually in California, up near Ventura and Camarillo. He actually connected with a doctor in his area. So she's a doctor of nutrition. So they put on a seminar together, okay? So foundational health for women over 40. Pillars to be fab and fit in your 50s and beyond. Join us for a 45-minute workshop to learn about the 5 pillars of health for women over 50. So they put this on together at his gym, okay? So she sent it out to her database, right? He sent it out to his database. So together they gathered these people to, hear this presentation that now it sets him up as the expert, as the fitness expert, because now he's got a doctor there, right? Who's helping to also bring people in and tell them that this is the fitness expert, she's the nutrition expert, and they're working together to really help the audience. Does that make sense? So start to think about how you can work together with other experts in your community to help, create opportunities like this. So that's both of them together. And so they had a really great turnout. They ended up with a bunch of new clients coming in. So that's, an idea. Start to think about how could you do that, right? This is some of our partnerships, some of the businesses that we work with. So you don't always think about who it could be, right? Tribute Beauty Salon, which I mentioned, but Egg Plantation is a breakfast restaurant across the street from us. So we have a really great partnership with them. They have our flyers in that you finish your meal, you're gonna see a flyer from Results Fitness. So if you have a breakfast restaurant or some, restaurant nearby where you coach, maybe you could talk to them about, hey, can we get a healthy meal on the menu, right? So I can become your fitness expert so that you can tell all the people that come to your restaurant that I'm your fitness expert. Right? That's a great way to get in front of people in your community, okay, and become the expert. Think of all the different things that your clients use, all the different, beauty services and things they use, Lash Lounge, Sweetest Skin. We also are, connected with a recovery center, our local OCR race, Runner's Lane, so just start to branch out and think of things that maybe you weren't thinking of. When I say partnerships, I think a lot of us as trainers, we right away think of, maybe doctors or physical therapists, but this might be on another scale. It might be a business that you never thought of that has that same target market as you, that you could build a partnership with and start to work together to really set you up as the expert for their audience as well. Okay, make sense? So organize free or low-cost workshops. I think that's a great way to set yourself up as an expert, and especially if you can start to partner with another expert in your community, right? That's going to be a great way. Offer challenges. I think challenges are a great way to really get people involved, get people excited, get people to join in to what you're offering, and then promote events through local media and online groups. Okay, so another case study, this is Joya. She's in Pennsylvania. She owns eMotion Fitness. And Joya actually has been doing workshops on a regular basis. So she's got a really great community. She opened her gym as part of our mastermind group. So she was in our mastermind group when she started her gym. So we've been able to help her. So they did a seminar, Level Up, free expert fitness seminar. So it's another example, right? And so she's been doing these like every other month as a community, really inviting the community to come in to learn from the experts. We've even done them as Ask the Experts. We've done an Ask the Experts series where every other month we did a different topic. This month we're going to talk about strength training over 40. Next month, we're going to talk about nutrition. The next month, we're going to bring a doctor in. So you could do an Ask the Experts, right? And you're the expert, right? That's how you set yourself up as an expert. You tell people you're the expert and they can come learn from you, right? What a great thing. And so she's done a lot of these workshops and they've really worked out great for her getting new clients, but also teaching her current clients. So really works fantastic. And you never know, you might end up on the cover of your local magazine, this was our magazine for July, right? You guys, I don't know if you can see me, I'm right there in the middle. But part of that is being involved, okay? So we had a whole team that did our local 4th of July 5K. And so getting out in the community, thinking of, looking for different events, like in this magazine, you can flip through that magazine and you can find all different local events and go, how can we get involved? How can we be out there? How can, they were actually gonna do a rappelling event in our area. And I'm like, okay, we're on it. We're gonna be there. So starting to show up in your community at all the different events and, be like, maybe you sponsor it. Maybe you have a booth there. Maybe you, really figure out how can I be there so people start to see us as the fitness resource anywhere they go, right, in the community. So brainstorm those events that you can be a part of. And then last, create opportunities to welcome the community into your gym. So a lot of times we'll do charity workouts, things at the gym where people can come in and be a part of the gym. Again, sets you up as the expert because you're the resource, you're the place that people go to do the workouts, okay? So keep all those things in mind. Okay, so how are we doing? We are coming up on time. All right, engaging your clients. So this is the next step, is really not only do we want to engage the community, but engaging your clients, because we can get your clients to be raving fans. They are going to be able to help set you up as the expert as well. So the training plans you're putting together, right? Making sure that we have those training plans, check-ins, accountability, fostering a sense of community through group classes, semi-private training, and an interactive environment, and then celebrating milestones. So I want to give you guys some ideas to put into action, okay? So for recognition of your clients, ideas that will help to set you up as an expert. This is one that we do every year, our 100 Workout Challenge. So this encourages client engagement. So every year, July 1st, we challenge our clients to do 100 workouts by the end of the year, okay? They have to post on social media. So what does that do? That forces them to tell all of their friends and family, right, about us and who we are, and that, guess what, we're the expert, right? So they do this. If they do 100 workouts, by the end of the year, they get a cool new t-shirt that they win. It doesn't cost them anything. There's no cost, purely just a challenge, but obviously it's also helping to, right, get social media posts out there that are tagging us, helping us to also be seen as the expert. Does that make sense? So ideas like that, where you're recognizing your clients, but you're also getting them involved and getting them engaged. Another one, very similar, we do a Strong Moms Challenge every year in May. So for Mother's Day, all of our moms, we encourage them to set a goal of hitting a PR. When they hit that PR, of course, they ring the PR bell. They get that PR on video. They post that video on their social media. They get a cool Strong Moms t-shirt, okay? Again, doesn't cost them anything, doesn't cost us a whole lot, but a t-shirt, right? We get to recognize our clients with a cool new t-shirt. They post for us. And guess what? A lot of times the posts, we ask them to collaborate. So now we got a collaborative post, right? So now, again, all of their friends and family see it and go, wait, where did they go to the gym again, right? And I know with the 100 Workout Challenge, every year as the challenge is going, I'm in the community talking to people and they're like, oh, you guys are that gym that does the 100 workout. Like I keep seeing people posting about that, right? I'm like, yep, that's us. Like, we're known, right? We are known for that. So think of things like that, right? Like ways you can get your clients to engage and start to help spread the word that you're the expert, right? They're going to help you to really tell other people, that you are the one, that you are the resource. I feel like what I always have said this, referrals are the #1 indicator of the success of your business. So if you're not getting referrals, if your clients aren't telling people about you, there's something wrong. So really take a look at that. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. We've been in business 25 years. We still expect every single month to get referrals. Like if we're not getting referrals, then our clients aren't, because guess what? If you get referrals, your clients aren't going anywhere, right? Because they just brought in friends and they're happy. And then you're getting qualified leads coming in who are going to be really good fit for your gym. So that's going to be the #1 indicator of the success of your business, is going to be those referrals. So check that. Am I getting referrals every month? Because if not, I really need to work on my client engagement, really getting that engagement going. Okay? So community and engagement gives you guys some ideas to really start getting out in the community and start to get your clients engaged. And last but not least, we're going to dive into marketing. Okay? We're going to take the last 5 minutes here to talk about marketing. The hierarchy of marketing starts with getting results, okay? If If you guys aren't getting results with your clients, I can't help you. Because you do need to get good results, right? If you're gonna be an expert, you're gonna market yourself, we do have to get great results. Figure out your message. What is your niche? Who are you? What's the language you speak? How are you gonna really connect with these clients? Referrals, we just talked about that. So making sure you're getting referrals. I do think we still need a website. I know social media is where it's at, but we still do need to have a website up. If you're gonna set yourself up as the expert in your community, you gotta have a website. They need to have somewhere they can land that we're gonna talk about it, but they need to be able to opt in and connect with you and really start to get information from you if you're gonna be a professional who they're gonna connect with. Build a list, so a database, okay? So if you're gonna become the expert, you wanna give them an opportunity to get added to your database so that you can then connect with them. And if you guys have heard the idea of 1,000 true fans, that's really the idea. We're trying to get, even 100 true fans, right? To get added to your database that you are now their expert, right? Maybe they haven't hired you yet, but you're their expert. And if you can start building that database, that's how you're gonna build your expertise, and that's how you're gonna build your clientele to be the expert. And that's, again, putting that content out, sharing that content with them. Gifting is getting in front of them, networking, and then local press and press releases, okay? So that's the hierarchy. We don't recommend investing any money in marketing unless you have these things in place, okay? So that's the idea. So awesome book. When it comes to marketing, Marketing Made Simple, check out that book. Some of the things in that book, looking to build an evergreen funnel. So when we talk about building yourself up as an expert, we really want to get the internet working for you so that you have things out there that are actually working while you sleep. Okay? So make sure it is possible for people to land on your website and to actually book an appointment with you without you having to talk to them. Because a lot of times these things happen when you're not available, right? It might be after work, it might be, midnight, someone's on their phone scrolling, they come across your website. Can they book an appointment with you easily without you being involved, okay? Get some pre-qualifying questions in place. Have that conversation. Make sure you guys have a website that's speaking their language. And then go through your process as a client, okay? See how it works. Make sure it's smooth. Make sure it goes through. Have some follow-up in place. Emails, text, connect with them after. Making sure those autoresponders are happening right when you connect with them, okay? So that they can start that conversation. And then in your landing page, having all of the things that are gonna really tell them you're the expert. Everything from having a guarantee, having your onlys, okay, what are you the only of? Building value, your heartfelt message, social proof, okay? All those videos we were just talking about, include those, right? So when they land, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the place, this is the expert, this is who I need to hire, this is it, right? Make sure we have all of that. So this is some of those examples on our website, our onlys, building value. And you guys can see this on our website, our heartfelt message of why we do what we do, some of our testimonials, and then, urgency so that they need to sign up now, today. Okay, so really think through what is your current setup, okay? From someone seeing your social media and wanting to get a hold of you, do you have things in place that you can make it easy, that they feel like, okay, this person is for real, they're the expert, they're a professional, and I wanna work with them. So think through all of your, steps that you guys are working with. And then I think surveys are the easiest way to really find out what people want from you. Ask them, ask them what they want and then give it to them. That's actually like one of the rules of marketing is ask your audience what they want and then give it to them. And that's how you can, really get them set up. So here's some quick survey questions for you guys, and I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna run through this real quick. Emails, once you do have your database set up, you got to email them consistently, okay? Talk to them. Make this a part of your, weekly connection. You are sending out that content and keeping that going. And then make sure you guys are paying attention to your Google. Google My Business is big for if you want to be the expert in your area. People will Google personal trainer. They Google personal trainer all the time. And that's where you want to pop up. So if you don't have your Google My Business page set up, set that up, get your profile set up, get some reviews from some of your clients. That makes a big difference and really will help you to become the expert when people start to search for personal trainer. And then test and track. Like if everything you put out, test and track, see how it works, see where you're at, and really figure out is what I'm doing working? If not, make some changes, okay? So we got the professional website, we're putting out social media, we're emailing those tips on a regular basis, offering those free resources, and really connecting with people to tell them you are the expert in the area. Real quick, I have a free gift for you guys. If you guys want to go ahead and scan that code and fill that in, you will get ideas for social media posts. So I actually will give you exactly what to post to be able to start to build your email list. So if you scan that, you will also be added to my database. I will admit that this is doing exactly what I'm teaching you. Crazy how that works, huh? All right, and we also have this up at our booth too. If you guys want to swing by the Results Fitness University booth, swing by there. And last but not least, scale your influence. So once you guys are doing all of these things I've talked about, start to think bigger, get your book written, think about getting up to speak in front of an audience. Start to share what you do on a larger scale, okay? Because what you do is important, and I know all of you have a lot to share. And think about like one conversation from that book, like turned into that book, turned into challenges, turned into changing all of, tons of stuff, turned into me standing up here talking to you guys, okay? So don't discount what you know and how it can turn into what you can offer to the world. Okay, so I hope you guys choose one thing to become the best at. If you choose to become the best at coaching women over 40 and being the expert for them, go for it, okay? They need you, they need your help. They are looking for experts, so give them the best, they deserve it. And if you guys want any more help from us, we do have a booth out front. I will hang out over at the Results Fitness University booth. I'm actually doing Q&A after this, so I'll be in the Q&A room, and you can jump on our website too. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the Q&A room.